Good morning. Good to see you, Azlina. Welcome, everybody, to Aspire Up's Leadership Podcast Series. And today, we are so glad to have Azlina from Temco here today, who is a very seasoned HR leader. All right. And we are here today to find out a little bit about what does leadership mean now and then. So, very quickly, Azlina, just to start, get the ball rolling. I want to give you the opportunity to share a little bit about your experience working in terms of your career over the past decade. So please feel free to share.
Okay, thanks Dinesh. It's a privilege to be here today with you. This is my first time, so bear with me if I'm a bit nervous here and there.
Not a problem.
Okay, so for me, being in HR for the longest time, and then I had a privilege of a beautiful career journey. I started in a local companies, then I switched to multinational. At that point in time, I was managing just the domestic Malaysia HR, and then after that, I moved on to another multinational company. So during that time, I had enjoyed my time, although I don't really say enjoy at that point of time because there's a lot of work, a lot of transformation, a lot of restructurings. Being a pure American, they are really bottom line. So, right. And it was not that easy to manage when talking about restructuring, right? So, but I had the privilege to grow my career from local to Southeast Asia and India. Yeah. So I started my career traveling around. Then I think I had a very good years, I think about 8-9 years, and I moved on to another smaller British firm under the construction chemicals. It's a family owned for a few years. Then I think I need more. I was taking care of Southeast Asia and India still at that point of time, but I need more. So I was headhunted and offered a job. So at that point of time, I was given the opportunity to manage Asia Pacific. Yeah. So I had an opportunity to run to set up the business and then hire new teams and all that. And then I also worked with a global team. I was involved in a global project, leading the global project. So I had a beautiful career there. Then I had another opportunity with Coca-Cola. This is the bottlers, not the business unit. So I was attached to the manufacturing of Coca-Cola. A couple of years before I was headhunted to join Temco because of the transformation experience that I had. So beautiful years, and I've been traveling around the world for my job. And now for Temco, Malaysia based, but more stationary, but I still have employees outside Malaysia.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a career journey, right? Spanning, and you're always, one of the things that I got out of this brief introduction in terms of your career experience is the fact that you tend to want to challenge yourself. I hear that it's something that's innate about you, that you want to push yourself to do more. And as you started your career in the very beginning, what were some of the thoughts that came up in terms of how leadership was back then, going back decades? And what was that? What was the expectation you felt as a leader back then?
Yeah, so when I had the opportunity to be a manager, right? Actually the job was offered based on the experience that I had. They don't even look at whether I have managerial experience or people management skill, right? It's just because of the experience that I had. I mean, of course, I felt lucky at the point of time. And then when I started the job, nobody's there to teach me how to be a manager, right? I just blessed it. I was managing a small team at that point of time, so I just had to figure it out myself, right? And even my direct manager, didn't even spend time. Like nowadays, you have like spend time coaching, like sharings and all that. There's no such thing, right? They give you the duty, out you go and get it done, right? So it was like a lot of unknown. You just have to figure it out. You fell and flat on your face, you get up again and redo it again, and those was my experience when I started being a manager, not even a leader.
So that's very interesting to perspective, because you were thrown into the deep end being, to become a leader, you had a team, a small team that you had to lead. And what's interesting that you mentioned is your leader said, Selena, just do it. And gave you the autonomy to go out and experience that leadership by yourself. And through that, you went through some failures, but then you got back up, you found your feet, and you moved forward. And through that discovery, you started probably shaping the way in which you led, or
Yeah.
way in which you should lead.
Yes.
So how is that different from how things are now for the young leaders of today that you have observed?
So it's like the because I probably be one of the responsible parties to set the stage for them, right? Because we do have these young leaders where we want to develop, like the high potential we call it, right? So we would do proper assessments about the strength, the areas that we develop, right? And then we kind of like, okay, the strengths, we want to enhance it. So we enhance it through activities and projects and all that. The areas of development, then we line out a career plan, development plan, right? Not just development plan like training and all that, but we do have like mentoring and all that, yeah? And for me as a HR leader, I will also spend time with them on people management side, because being a leader is not just knowing your stuff, but you need to manage people, right? And new leader, normally they came from a position where they don't manage people before, right? So I will spend also time coaching people management, and then I will assign mentor, and the mentor will spend time, and we will set a periodic kind of regular catch up, so that the new leader can come in and kind of bounce ideas or whatnot, right? So it's totally different right now that you are there to support, you are there to help them to succeed, comparatively to when I started to be a manager, where it's like, just do it, right? So
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. The thing that I got out of that was you explaining that back then it seemed to be a little bit more I tell you what to do and you just do it, versus now maybe it's a bit more let me support you understand what that feels like to start that leadership journey.
I make it a very simple description to that.
Yeah.
Like previously a leader or a manager, I don't even call them a leader, is one-way communication, right? The manager says something, okay, you do this, right? And the recipient, whoever the team members, will just make sure they just get it done, right? There's no real conversation or whatnot. It's purely one way. Right now, it's like more than 360 degrees communication, right? So you have something in mind, then we talk to the team, and then you got feedback from them. What do you think about this, right? And you get the team involved, right? And sometimes not just within your team, you get the other departments that's probably involved in that topics that you're discussing about. Is very holistic, right? Everybody gets to say something. So it's not just one way. That's why I call it previously one way, now it's 360 degrees. That's a drastic change of how things were being a leader or manager then and now.
You would say it's like two different, it's like black and white, how things were before versus back then and how things are now. My next question for you, which I'm very intrigued to find out, as your career progressed as a young manager, trying to learn how it is to lead, and then you had established some level of experience leading after a few more years, and then where was it, which organization that you went in that you kind of felt, I've got some tools in my leadership toolkit now, I know what I need to do. What level of that journey you kind of felt?
I think it's not just level of journey, it's also the company, right? Because it's depending on the company culture, vision, how they see people, right? How they invest on people, right? So for me, although they are purely American, but they do have all the fantastic tools, right? The intranet is there, the performance management, right? And then the competencies, and even have descriptive behaviors towards the competency. Because every time we talk about competency to our outside HR team, they would say, what's that, right? So when you have a descriptive behaviors supporting the competency, right? People can, okay, now it makes sense to me, right?
Right.
So, and they have a very rigor talent management exercises. So they are very candid. We put all the leaders in one room, and then they say, I identified this is my high post, and everybody else get to challenge the leader. Why you mentioned this guy is a high post? So all sort of the whole really practical people processes I learned.
Fantastic.
And the leaders really champion it, right? The global, the region, whenever they came to Malaysia, they'll really champion it. They will show it to the people, right? Even the behaviors, the competencies. So I see that and I learned a lot.
So you had a senior leadership team that was highly supportive, had a good infrastructure in terms of quality of tools. And it's very structured organization.
Right.
And that's wonderful to have, because you as a leader yourself, you're now given all of these tools. It actually enables you to lead better.